most of my videos over the last couple of years, I talked about how the Bible gives us many descriptions of the Antichrist and how, coincidentally, they all seem to match up perfectly with the character traits of one Donald J. Trump. However, in this video, I thought I'd briefly mention a few other traits of Trump that are not specifically related to the Bible, but still point out how he embodies and even embraces a number of negative characteristics that the rest of us do our best to overcome. First, there is Trump's astounding immaturity. Disregarding the fact that he is 76 years old, the silly name-calling and other childish behavior of his would be embarrassing at almost any age, and yet this kind of immaturity seems to be enjoyed by Trump, who, again, is 76 years old. All of us can act immature from time to time, no matter how old we are, but most of us are able to recognize it as a mistake and either apologize or vow to be better. With Trump, however, immaturity is part and parcel of his character, and he wears it like a badge of honor. Second, there is Trump's strange lack of laughter. Not only is video of Trump having an audible laugh impossible to find, he rarely even grins or smiles unless someone is complimenting him or denigrating one of his enemies. A sense of humor is truly a blessing from God, but an inability to genuinely laugh, including at oneself, is a sure sign that something is wrong on the inside. After all, if there's one thing we can be sure of, it's that Satan does not have a sense of humor. Third, Trump and animals seem to be mortal enemies. While many people are not fond of having animals around, for their part, animals seem to prefer not having Trump around. There are numerous instances of animals sensing something wrong about Trump. Of course, those of us who love animals, and especially dogs, know full well that they have an uncanny ability to gauge how trustworthy a person is, and they will often act aggressive towards those that they consider a threat. Fourth, Trump's unusual forward-leaning posture. This isn't so much a personality trait as it is an unusual tic, but his tilting forward posture when standing is so odd that it can't go unnoticed once you see it. Some have speculated that it is due to his wearing lifts inside his shoes to appear taller, and in fact there are numerous videos of him swaying slightly back and forth in order to keep his balance. Still others postulate that it's a sign of Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. Personally, I think Trump leans forward for balance as he exaggerates his height, just like he exaggerates everything else in his life. But his odd posture also reminds me of another animal who keeps the lower part of their body back for balance, but leans forward with their head. Fifth, the absurdities that come out of Trump's mouth. And I don't mean just the outright lies, but the complete silliness of some of Trump's statements is truly breathtaking. For example, his claim to have saved Christmas, yet another case of Trump portraying himself as a savior. But what is truly remarkable about some of these silly statements of Trump's is that many of his supporters believe them as if they were the gospel truth. He can exaggerate things to an almost comical level, and yet they're swallowed hook, line, and sinker by those who love him. Now, I hate to end this video on a bit of a down note, but this willingness of many on the right to believe the absurd things Trump says is a bad omen for the future. We've already seen with the January 6th attacks that many of Trump's base take what he says very seriously. There will come a time in the not-too-distant future that no matter how ridiculous sounding one of Trump's statements are, it will not only be accepted as truth, but interpreted as a call to action, an opportunity to rise up against those who Trump considers his enemies. As Trump's denigration of his political enemies continues unabated, as do his stunning claim that the media is the enemy of the people, you can be sure that more and more of his base are inching ever closer to taking matters into their own hands. And this willingness to accept the lunacy of what Trump says as gospel is reminiscent of a quote from the French philosopher Voltaire, who once said, "Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities." Thank you for watching, and if you care to leave a comment, please do. As always, kindly be respectful in any comment you leave, especially towards those with whom you disagree. I'll talk to you guys soon.